Welcome. I'm glad that you've joined me today. Every experience begins with a thought, and our experiences change when we change our thoughts. In this series, we are focusing on the thoughts and emotions relating to special meridian points located along the sides of the spine corresponding to the vertebrae. They are called Huatuojiaji points. Each point connects to a specific area of your body and nervous system. We will be working on opening the Huatuojiaji points along the spine to increase chi flow and activation of the nervous system so that your body has access to the life force and information it needs to heal itself. I will help you to do this through Qigong healing and the use of forgiveness and affirmations. When there is an energetic block of the T10, thoracic 10, Huatuojiaji points, gallbladder pain can often be felt. Issues with cholesterol and bile production can also be present, and it can be connected to kidney issues, hardening of the arteries, and chronic fatigue. Therefore, opening up this area can relieve pain and prevent painful procedures and relieve stress. It can also inhibit the flow of the sacral chakra and our ability to form beautiful relationships. By clearing the stagnant energy in each point and infusing it with life force energy, your body will have what it needs to correct and harmonize any dysfunction that has accumulated over the years. Life happens, whether we choose it or not, and it can have a great impact on how we live and view our lives. We will identify areas where energy is inflamed and stuck, stagnant, and refusing to flow because of old beliefs, dependence, controlling experiences, shame and humiliations, fears, stories, people, lifestyles, attitudes, and demands. We will focus on beliefs that your mind is ready to embrace or release, where it is ready for change, progress, and transformation. Embrace these thoughts. Feel them deep within your body, your mind, and your soul, and allow them into your heart. You are absolutely worthy of every virtue. You are worthy of every life-giving belief. And as you hear these statements, let them into your heart. They will transform you gently, profoundly, and bring greater and higher good to your life. So take a deep breath, and we will start. Place your hand on your chest, touching the two fear points with your thumb and index finger. The spots will be tender. Hold your hand there. You may massage the points if they are tender. The important thing is supporting these points with the energy through your palm and into those points. And you can hold your hands in a prayer position at your heart space. This is particularly effective if you're holding rare earth magnets with the south pole facing your right hand. Or you can use a piece of quartz crystal, or jade or selenite. Imagine looking into a mirror and looking into your eyes and talking directly into your soul. In this moment, speak this maxim to yourself with the care and compassion you would give to the most apprehensive of beings. So repeat after me. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason, treat with courtesy, act with emotion, and accomplish results. So let's say this one more time, but this time we will speak it into the thoracic 10 or T10 vertebrae and the surrounding area. increasing the life force with honest kindness and respect for its importance, place, and function. So take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason, treat with courtesy, act with emotion, and accomplish results. We will breathe after each statement, consciously creating new pathways of response and allowing the energy to freely and lovingly flow. So carefully listen to each statement and try to repeat after me in your mind. I give myself permission to bring up and address the unconscious beliefs that have kept me stuck in patterns of response that bring harm to myself and others. And breathe. I give myself permission to forgive the people and institutions that have influenced my beliefs when they have encouraged distorted ideas, even when they believed it was good. And breathe. I forgive those in my life experienced so far who intentionally or unintentionally caused me harm because of their own broken and distorted interpretations of life. And breathe. I forgive myself for my incorrect interpretation of the love and care offered to me by those who truly wanted to show love. And breathe. I ask others to forgive me when I have hurt or caused harm because of my mistaken interpretation of reality. And breathe. I forgive myself for any resistance I have toward embracing all that is good, lovely, and precious. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that miraculous transformation, healing, change, and opportunities only happen after long, toiling effort, self-degradation, or that they don't happen for me. And breathe. I embrace all opportunities, gifts, and love that flow to me without hesitation or skepticism, but with thankfulness and gratitudes. And breathe. I give myself permission to surrender and allow for the highest and greatest good to come to me, transform me, and remake me. And breathe. I forgive myself for distorting my alignment with myself, with the great creator, and with great nature, because I do not know my true self. And breathe. I give myself permission to accept my true self and clear the blockages that keep me distorted in my physical health, my emotional health, my social health, and my spiritual health. And breathe. I give myself permission to take responsibility for whatever comes into my presence with gratitude and calmness. And breathe. I forgive myself for knowingly and unknowingly creating the emotional and physical patterns that block my flow and connection to myself, to heaven, earth, or humanity. And breathe. I give myself permission to grow and evolve by giving up the stories of the past so that the universe can write new ones. And breathe. I love and accept myself now as I begin to understand and accept the corrections to any false programming and beliefs I might have received. And breathe. I love and accept myself as I align myself to think and feel in the way the universe thinks and feels, accepting the miracles that flow through me, around me, above me, and below me. And breathe. I love and accept that the universe is highly flexible, and I can be too. Because when I am flexible, which is in harmony with the universe, I am open to the infinite possibilities, and then possibilities will appear. And breathe. I forgive myself for refusing to take charge of my life, needing to be a victim, and blaming others for my pain when they are involved. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that others need to change before I can be happy. Breathe. I forgive myself for closing off and blocking the receiving of good in my life. And breathe. I open myself to joy and love, which I give freely and receive freely. And breathe. I forgive myself for allowing bitterness to block my acceptance of good. And breathe. I forgive myself for having hard thoughts towards myself and others. Breathe. I forgive myself for acting, believing, or putting myself above another in pride. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing I know better than someone else. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing my way is better and should be followed. And breathe. I forgive myself for rejecting the sweet things in life. And breathe. I forgive myself for holding on to the past to prove that I am right. And breathe. I forgive myself for clogging the channels of joy to flow through me. And breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid to accept joy and therefore reject it. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that happiness is too good to be true. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I'm not supposed to be happy. And breathe. I forgive myself for saying no to the good things in life. And breathe. I forgive myself for being overly critical of everything. And breathe. I forgive myself for being disappointed when I fail to live up to unrealistic expectations. And breathe. I forgive myself for being disappointed when others fail to live up to my unrealistic expectations. And breathe. I forgive myself for feeling ashamed for my failures instead of taking charge of my life. And breathe. I forgive myself for reacting like a little kid when things don't go the way I want them to. And breathe. I forgive myself for being insensitive to situations where caring and concern could have been exhibited. And breathe. I forgive myself for trying to control life. And breathe. I forgive myself for being disloyal to myself. And breathe. I forgive myself for being overly judgmental toward myself or others. And breathe. I forgive myself for every time I get confused with what I'm honestly feeling. And breathe. I forgive myself for all the deep subconscious resentments that I hold toward people and experiences of the past. Breathe. I forgive myself for unfounded criticism of others. And breathe. I forgive myself for trying to please others and denying my own heart. And breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid of being disappointed, so I shut down and reject the good that is offered to me. And breathe. I forgive myself for building an impenetrable wall around myself so that no one can hurt me. And breathe. I forgive myself for forcing my way on others, even when I do it in a friendly way. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that the things that I want are kept blocked from me. And breathe. I forgive myself for my unresolved feelings that block and obscure the flow of good in my life. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to be perfect or that life has to be perfect before I can be blessed with joy and happiness. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that life is pain and suffering, and I will be rewarded in a future time to the degree of pain and suffering that I have endured. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to reject good now in order to suffer. And breathe. I forgive myself for resisting the good that is offered to me. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing my life is tiresome and I can't do anything about it. And breathe. I forgive myself for rejecting the responsibility to improve my life experiences. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am totally alone. And breathe. I forgive myself for feeling despair when I give my power to others. And breathe. I forgive myself for feelings of hopelessness when I can't see how to get out of a bad situation, instead of trusting that the divine is working for my good. And breathe. I forgive myself for my lack of faith in goodness and in love. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing I have to prove myself in order to receive love. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to live up to others' expectations to be accepted and loved. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing it is not enough to just love myself, that others have to love me first. And breathe. I forgive myself for rejecting the things in life that truly make my heart sing because of what others may think or do. And breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid to do the things I really love doing. And breathe. I forgive myself for feeling life is unfair, when the truth is, I am the one out of balance and out of harmony with life. And breathe. I give myself permission to call up and transform, transmute, release, and remove all rejection of wisdom, refusal to know or understand, indecision, resentment and blame, misalignment with life, victimhood, and denial of my spiritual self for the highest and greatest good of myself and others. And breathe. I now give myself permission to unblock both sides of the Huatuojiaji points of thoracic 10, opening and activating the flow of qi and information through T10, communicating freely with all parts of my body, mind, and spirit, raising the quality of my thoughts. And breathe. I give myself permission to see the past, present, and future clearly and honestly. And breathe. I give myself permission to take responsibility for every aspect of creating the life that supports me and that I love. And breathe. I give myself permission to gain wisdom through joyfully accepting the experiences of life in all their diversity. And breathe. I give myself permission to release all that keeps me from seeing and hearing the truth. And breathe. Without needing to be a victim and putting the responsibility on others, I am free to align my life with my spiritual self and the energies of the universe. And breathe. When I am aligned with truth and love, I am free of victimhood. And breathe. I am free to be accountable for my interactions with life. Breathe. I am free to joyfully release the past. And breathe. I am free to feel the sweetness that I bring to this human experience. And breathe. I am free to feel the sweetness of life. And breathe. I am free to choose to love life. And breathe. I am free to open wide the channels of joy in me. And breathe. I am free to receive abundantly. And breathe. I am free to express myself and the way I feel with true honesty. And breathe. I am free to feel the divine orchestration of good in my life. And breathe. I am free to believe in the good of each experience. And breathe. I am free to grow up and take responsibility. Breathe. I am free to be disappointed and still enjoy my life. And breathe. I am free to allow others to live the life that was meant for them. And breathe. I am free to make mistakes and learn from them, adding to my wisdom. And breathe. I am free to be filled with joy, and breathe. I am free to have joy flow through me with every beat of my heart, and breathe. I am free to flow freely with life itself, and breathe. I am free to be enthusiastic about life and filled with the energy and enthusiasm and awe that it brings. And breathe. I am free to say yes to what life brings to me. And breathe. I am free to feel the impartiality of life. And breathe. I am free to believe that the best action for my success is taking place in my life right now. Breathe. I am free to release the old and take in the new. And breathe. I am free to have the power, strength, and knowledge to handle everything in my life, perfectly aligned and supported in all things. And breathe. With the power of my divine consciousness, I now create connection and harmony with all things in myself and in my world in a way that inspires kindness, friendliness, honesty, and goodwill, flowing genuine love and sincere compassion to all that is in my range of influence, and freely offering connection from the brightest place of my heart. So take a long, deep breath and release all that does not align with truth. You are now creating new alignments, stronger and more powerful beliefs, letting go of the stories of the past and creating new, supportive, and harmonious ones to manifest the peace, happiness, and calm that is divinely gifted to you at all times. I leave this verse from Antonio Machado with you. Last night I dreamed, blessed illusion, that I had a beehive here in my heart, and that the golden bees were making white combs and sweet honey from my old failures. May the failures and pain of the past be transformed into sweet things that gladden the heart and bring smiles to your face as you embrace the universe and start making a positive difference in your world. Godspeed.